A very good afternoon to all the participants today. I welcome everyone to the last and the final day of our Atal Online 6 Days Faculty Development Program on innovating agri-tech for sustainable tomorrow, aligning with SDG goals. To just have a brief recap, yesterday we had two eminent personalities with sessions by Dr. Virendra Narsalgi, who spoke and delivered on SDG's contribution in the food technology, followed by Dr. Shiv Shankar, who spoke on food technology in India. To continue, we have our first resource person for this session, Dr. Vinayak Hosamani, who would be delivering a talk on startup and agri-tech. A brief introduction. We are delighted to introduce Dr. Vinayak Hosamani, sir, a seasoned academic and professional with extensive experience in management, entrepreneurship, and business innovation. Currently, Sir serves as a professor in the Department of MBA and additional director at Center for Technology, Innovation and Entrepreneurship, that is CTIE, at KLE Technology University, Hubballi. With a career spanning over a decade, Dr. Hosamani has held key positions, including Chief Operating Officer at Krishik Agri-Business Incubator under RKVY Raftar, where he contributed to fostering innovation and supporting startups in the agriculture sector. He has also worked as an incubator manager at the New Age Incubation Network, managing government-funded projects to nurture startups, and as a public relations officer and assistant professor at KLS Gopte Institute of Technology, Belgavi in past. Dr. Hosamani holds a PhD in Business Administration from Rani Chennamma University, Belgavi, and an MBA in Marketing from Nitte Meenakshi Institute of Technology, Bangalore. His expertise spans marketing, entrepreneurship, leadership, and he has a proven track record of guiding students and startups to achieve their goals. We are eager to listen to your insights, sir, as participants continue enriching this journey of this FDP since past 1 week. So once again, welcome you, sir, for this 6 days online FDP. So over to you.
Thank you, Ajay, sir. Thank you very much. So a warm good afternoon to one and all. So I would be sharing the presentation. Yeah, is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, sir. So screen is visible and you are clearly audible. Both.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon. So thank you, the management of IMSR, the faculty coordinators, and the head of the department for giving me this opportunity to share my insights on startup related to agri-tech and the startup ecosystem at large. So before I start my presentation, if it is possible to be interactive, I would be pretty happy. Okay. So before I start my presentation on startup and agri-tech, so can somebody tell me whether entrepreneurship or a startup is by choice or by chance? Hello, am I audible, Ajay sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay. Can it be an interactive session or it is a one-way session, sir?
So up to you. No problem. No problem. So I think there are answers in the chat box by choice. By choice, there are.
Okay. So I cannot see the chat box because it is Gmeet.
Okay.
Maybe if you could read it out to me.
Yes, sir. In the chat box is there. People are saying there are answers like choice. They all are saying like choice. It can be either of its. One of the participants mentions.
Okay. So many answers would be a choice, but 30% of the startups which have come up in today's world are by chance. They tried with some idea which they felt that they would get into a commercial entity and chose this as their career, and it happened by chance. And 70%, as people rightly said, it is by choice. So why entrepreneurship or why startup? So according to the statistics by the CII, 62 crore Indians today are under the age of 25, with more than 40 crore of those are under the age of 18. And for the next 20 years, India would require at least 1 crore jobs every year. So to enhance or to make sure that there is a job market available, startup is the utmost requirement in today's world. So government will not be able to fulfill all these kind of requirement in terms of job. That's the reason startup ecosystem has been given a push to give a lot of work environment for the people around. So entrepreneurship or startup, it doesn't only allow you to take a shot in chasing your dreams, but it also develops the skills. And with every entrepreneur comes a prospect of direct or indirect job creation. So to start off with, there is a difference between an invention and innovation. So invention, as you know, around before the tires were invented, the tires were square in shape, and then they happened to design it in a oval shape so that the rotations happen more than the square, shape. So then, when the tire was invented, there was an innovation that okay, this tire can be forfeited to a car, and came with an innovation. So, what exactly is in startup or entrepreneurship? The first thing is desirability. So, your target customers, something someone wants. Why startup come into existence is because to cater to the demands of what customer wants. Similarly, when they have the desire to do something what someone wants, then comes feasibility, which means the resources what you have, which could in turn help you to complete the wants of the customer or cater to the wants of the customer. Something we are able to do, that is feasibility. Then comes viability, something that makes business sense, the business model. So when you can understand the wants of the customer, you try to do a feasibility analysis, and once that feasibility analysis is done, then you will look into the viability mode of getting the business model into practice. So innovation is nothing but desirability, feasibility, and viability. And combination of these three circle, the inner circle, the inner ring is what comes up with innovation. That so someone wants it, we can do it, and we should do it. So the desirability, feasibility, viability framework is an excellent way to find the innovation, and the innovation is where all these three overlap. So that is what we call as a golden circle. So when you intersect desirability, feasibility, and viability, you have something that people want, you have something that we can do, you have something that we should do. So the golden circle by Simon Sinek says why, how, and what. Right? So why should we start it? How should we start it? And what is that product we need to give to the customer? So this is what the startup plan looks like. You have a plan that it would be a easy way to reach the end line, but the reality is a lot of struggle. But at the end of the day, when you reach your destiny, you change your life. So reasons, many of the startups, whether it is agri-tech, biotech, health tech, med tech, or any kind of technology, the reasons for rejection is they don't highlight on the innovation clearly. So when you start a startup, it should be highlighting what was in your mind. So without highlighting, your innovation is incomplete or nothing. So that leads to incomplete presentation, because when you are not able to highlight the innovation properly, the presentation becomes incomplete. Then poor market research. The research what you do, it has to be very strong enough to make sure that people understand or you understand the people properly. And also the validation reports for each product or service as a startup you come up with has to be validated. And a poor business plan. Everybody has something or the other in their mind. A lot of business plan come to your mind, but the analysis of what exact business an individual can do, they fail to put it into practice. So that is what a poor business plan also leads to rejection. And the team. See, every investor or every government looks into the team, whether it is competent or not, to take care of the startup and take it to the next level. So what you could probably do? The things what you need to do is proof of concept of prototype. Whatever you have in your mind, put it into practice and have a prototype in your hand. And for validation, you do a lot of field trials. And also to make sure that your product or service is standouts in the market, go for intellectual property rights and get your product validated by third party, which gives an upper hand for your product or service to be accepted in the market, and also attain a lot of licenses or approvals required to start your business. So we normally have to go by a step-by-step approach. So any product or a service in the market will be considered as an acceptable product only when we start from the scratch and understand what is the need, convert that need into a want, and that want will initiate the customers to convert it into a demand. So a step-by-step approach is always very good for any kind of a startup to convert their service, to convert their product, or to convert their idea into a commercial entity. So now coming to agriculture. When we speak about agriculture, I have my Guruji who will be speaking in the next session soon after me, right? Mittal Saab, he will tell you the entire scenario of agriculture, but now I will try to put it in a very small way, in a nutshell, right? So a lot of agriculture schemes have been introduced by government since 2016. And in the year 2018, government introduced a scheme called Raftar, which was under the umbrella of RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. So there the government focused on funding startups and ideapreneurs so that the ideas can be converted into a commercial entity, and the commercial entity may future scale up. So till date, the RKVY Raftar scheme has funded 1,985 startups to a whopping amount of 450 crore rupees. So opportunities of agri-entrepreneurs during and post COVID-19. So agri took a very drastic shift during the COVID period, right? So it paved a way to e-commerce platform. Mobile mandis on wheels was a concept initiated, and support from government to trade across all states without boundaries, and from farm to doorstep concept introduced by innovators, and challenge pricing introduced by various vendors on e-commerce. So the COVID is also a boon, even though it was a bane to a human fraternity, but it was also a boon, where the people entered into e-commerce platform, which created a lot of buzz, and the agriculture, the farmers were benefited directly. So this is how the commodity market, agriculture market, traditional service, where the agriculture network, with the help of administrators and customers, were able to integrate one network, which is a portal view integration authentication network, where the focus of market, the strength, the access, the crop and livestock, forestry, grains, everything was on a platform. So initially the non-agriculture products were highly on demand on the platform, but after post-COVID, the agriculture products have also created a buzz and a demand. So government support system, like we have 1.63 lakh crore for agriculture and allied sector aimed at strengthening infrastructure, logistics and capacity building. So when I say 1.63 lakh crore, it is the sole scheme from the government of India by the Ministry of Agriculture called as Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, AIF. So they are giving a loan to the agriculture innovators, especially in the field of agriculture and allied sectors, and also help them to attain a lot of grants and help to build a viable commercial entity. So 1 lakh crore agriculture infrastructure fund that will finance projects out of 1.63, wherein post-harvest management of crops, and this fund will be released to the aggregators, farmer producer organization, and primary agri-cooperative societies, agri-entrepreneurs, and startups. So these are all the stakeholders who could utilize this fund to give a lot of support to them to come up with a commercial entity. So the future of innovation and entrepreneurship. So these are all the outcomes of the schemes which were being provided by Government of India and still providing. So the entrepreneurship in agriculture has a lot of potential. When it comes to potential in agriculture, the basic major potential areas are precision farming, smart agriculture, and sustainable practices. And we also have a lot of IoT devices, drones, and data analytics, which enhance the productivity, also the environmental impact. Not only that, the vertical farming, hydroponics, and alternative protein sources also came into existence post-COVID, and the sustainable agriculture practices were followed. We also have leveraging a blockchain technology for supply chain transparency, where you can address the issue like food fraud. So entrepreneurs in agriculture, they are also regenerating farming practices, whereas they are concentrating more on soil health and biodiversity. Wherein the rise of agri-food startups, the net worthy as the bridge gap between the consumer and the producer, the distribution model like farm to table initiatives and online marketplace came into existence. So farmers also provide consumers with fresh, locally sourced products. So, in terms of prospects, the increasing interest on maybe plant-based proteins, which include the sustainable protein production, is becoming is given a lot of prominence. A global awareness on agriculture, climate change grows, entrepreneurs in agriculture sector, and there are also a lot of people who are getting into skills in agriculture business. So skills in agribusiness is basically where the people are unaware of the practices which are being followed in the modern agriculture technology. So there are a lot of startups which are into giving a training program for those people to equip them to help to get the knowledge of farming and also sustainable practices to be followed. So there is big data analytics and machine learning which is used in agriculture for crop management, pest control, and resource allocation. So all these examples what I'm quoting are the one which are being utilized by the startups to help build a vibrant ecosystem in agriculture sector. So in context of entrepreneurship and social enterprises, there are also a lot of people who are financing the innovative models. They are also the community-driven solutions where they they create an access to markets and credit. So the collaboration between traditional farming community and tech-driven startups are fostering a new way, a dynamic ecosystem, which helps the innovators to access capital and support for agriculture startups in increasing and facilitating the development and implementation of cutting-edge solutions. So in future, with fields like artificial intelligence and robotics and biotechnology, is expected to redefine the farming practices and create a resilient agriculture system. So all these solutions, all this technology advancement and sustainability in practices and education and social impact, in turn, is leading government to support bio innovation in the field of agriculture, wherein the Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji recently introduced bio innovation scheme with a whopping amount of around 7,500 crore rupees. So why agriculture, why entrepreneurship is only because now the growing startups, if for every 100 startups, there are 33% of the stakes held by agriculture startups because that is need of the hour. So we'll take some good examples of be your own boss. Like Bill Gates has to say, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. So the leader, prime minister, is empowering others through various schemes, which he helps in indirectly in supporting the new innovators, and startups, so that the people can be empowered and they in turn can create employability. Because you get to build something, a product, a business, or a company from scratch and see it grow. So when we heard about Flipkart, the founders, Bansal brothers, Vinny and Sachin, has to say, we were not thinking about numbers then, but we knew something big can be built out of e-commerce. So they built a good empire, a very good empire, which could compete even Amazon, which was an international brand already existing before Flipkart, and they were able to take over the market. And because entrepreneurship allows you to be visionary about your passion. So passion is the utmost thing. So Ambani has to say that if you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help them build theirs. So that is what Ambanis do, and we help them to build their dream. Because no other profession teaches you so much, right? Solving big problems is easier than solving little problems. H.G. Brain, who the co-founder of Google, says, Google, the moment you try entering something, it gives you the annotation, wherein it itself identifies what you are searching for and gives you the result. So he says big problems are easier, but small are difficult. And while you will be company's own boss and your company's sole labor until you scale your business. So the Albert Einstein, he says everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So can a fish climb a tree? Many of you say no, but Einstein has to say, think above, think below. So tree grown beneath water, the fish can climb that tree, not the tree which grows above the land, right? So, and that is fun. I don't believe in, Tataji has to say that he never used to take right decisions, take decisions and then make them right. So because you will make jobs. So Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group, has to say, never go into business purely to make money. If that's a motive, better be doing nothing. So nowadays, the startups are also thinking on a social angle, not only on the commercial angle, only to make money, but also want to get into the nerves of the customer so that the customer should be addicted to the product or service what he has come up with, because you will enhance your skills and thousand times, and you will even make a number of new skills in the process. So the biggest risk is not taking any risk, and in the world that is changing really quickly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risk. So unless and until you don't take any risk, then it is probably the thing which is the in turn to be failure. So because it is risky and adventure, and because it takes one bang on idea to make you successful forever. So founder of Amazon, I took an example of Flipkart, and founder of Amazon had to say, you build great experience, customer tell each other about that, word of mouth is very powerful. So building an experience is has to be given a priority than building a company or building a product or building a service, because being an entrepreneur will allow you to do what you love. The only way to do great work is to love what you do, right? So an entrepreneur or a startup has to have passion. The moment he has that passion to do something, he need to be passionate, he need to be, involved in self, and have to proclaim whatever the things with the passion he is going to do. So when with the passion he starts, he should also perceive it. Perseverance is the only thing which you could do in the place of passion of starting a company. So Larry Helson has to say, Oracle, when you innovate, you got to be prepared for everyone telling that you are nuts. So many startups we come across, I have been mentoring around 200 plus startups, but the moment that they go with an idea to anybody, explain them, they say you are mad, it won't work, but it actually works, right? For example, an idea which was long time back, the dosa batter by ID, many people laughed at him, but he was able to build a multi-millionaire company within a span of 3.5 years. So what? Because nothing is priceless than getting the paycheck from your business. So entrepreneurship is something where you will have to struggle like a slave today and live like a king tomorrow. So entrepreneurship is living like a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. So work like a slave and live like a king is what entrepreneurship is. So finally, to conclude my presentation, so Confederation of Indian Industry says 30% of the agriculture enterprise are making profit, wherein 35% are at break-even level and another 35 are making losses. So by 2024, the total retail market in the country, especially in food retail, may occupy 70% of the market. So it implies that there will be a huge demand for ready-to-eat and ready-to-cook products. We already have them, but now it was ready to eat wherein we need a proper vessel, put the packet and boil it. Now the time has come where the products are concealed, and you need to just add a hot water to get your end product. So agri innovation, entrepreneurship and technology need to be promoted to improve production, productivity and other things post-COVID. Moreover, in precision farming methods will pave the way for optimizing cost of production and productivity. So thank you for the presentation. I conclude my presentation with a famous statement by your lovable ex-president of India. Don't read success stories, you will get only message. Read failure stories, you will get some ideas to get success. Thank you. So I am open for discussion. Let's have conversation about any kind of a bit. See, I believe in interacting rather than speaking. I speak at one stretch and interact at another stretch. So open for discussion. If you have any discussions to be done about what startup is. what agri startups require, how to start a startup.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for your insightful session. I request the participants to unmute yourself, and if at all there are any questions, you can ask the questions. The resource person is here with us today.
Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for your informative and very quote. You have presented very much quotes of other entrepreneurs also. So I just want to ask a simple question, sir. When you're talking about profit-making startup and social initiative startup,
Okay.
so can you combine both?
Yes, sir. Let me answer your question in a way where initially when I start a company, my aim should be to place my product or service in the minds of customer, for which you will not be able to make profit in the first, second, or third year to the max. So that is where you're addressing the problem which is faced in the society. So recently we had a investment for a startup which has come up with a very good product, which is a bottled sugarcane juice. So when I heard about this product, I was surprised. There are a lot of players in the market where the juices have been, in bottled and sold. And when he came for a pitch presentation against an angel investor, I had to see that okay, he has manufactured a bottled sugarcane juice which has a shelf life of 12 months, which is 1 year, without any preservatives in the room temperature, and he has also patented that process and has a patent protection of 20 years. So when I see this, the ingredients which goes into a juice doesn't have any kind of preservatives which are not causing any kind of harm to human body. That is a problem which you have addressed socially. The moment this product comes into the market and you start selling after the batch production, you start getting profits, right? So a social profit entity is the one where I initially take a step to place that product in the minds of customer, and then later on end up in making profits.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, any other questions, please?
Yeah, participants, you all can unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Can I ask one more, sir?
Please
If
go ahead, sir.
Yeah, already Vinayak sir has given opportunities available in food sector basically.
Mhm.
So in food sector, can you specify the which particular sector we can or anybody can work to if they want to start up?
Okay, in food sector.
Yeah, specifically
Spec-
two three products you want to highlight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now I have come across a lot of innovations where I've been in scrutiny for as many startups as possible by the government of Karnataka, Gujarat, and India. So nowadays there is a lot of demand for millet-based products. There are existing in the market. There is a lot of existence of millets. So now they have come up with a millet pot, millet cup, millet plate, millet spoon. Right? You just need to use them, eat them, right? So when you come to food products nowadays, there are people who are vegan. They also want to taste how meat looks like. So one of the startup recently has come up with a product which is called as a vegan meat, right? So that vegan meat is manufactured using jackfruit, right? A raw jackfruat is converted into a meat. When I had it, when I went for a panel of judging, he prepared a dish and gave it to me. When I consumed it, I felt actually I'm eating a meat, right? So that's an innovation which people want to try. These kind of products are called as surprising products, right? That create a surprise in the minds of the customer to just experience how does it look. Like I give an example, a juice when it is a juice of from mango, apple, cranberry, strawberry, whatever. The juices were induced into a Tetra Pak. So before Tetra Pak, it was only glass bottle. After glass bottle came the plastic bottles, and then to create that awareness in the customer that plastic is not good for health, they came up with the Tetra Pak, and the Tetra Pak started selling. So the first Tetra Pak was initiated by Appy, which is a standalone product. It doesn't belong to any other brand. And then people followed him. Now again the customer has come back and only changed the design. Like you have Pepper Boat, that is one of the juice. Only the packages was changed. The juice remains same. Using that package as a surprise element, they were able to make more sales compared to Appy or Fruity, right? So there is always a surprise element what customer looks for. So in food industry, if you could surprise customers by your innovative idea and come up with something better, can give you a lot of this thing. Even the we call there is a North Karnataka sweet, right? It is made out of wheat. We call it huggi, right? So that is been GI tagged, tinned for a period of 6 months without any preservatives from Hubli Dharwad. So that is again a surprise element because person sitting in US is ordering huggi from Hubli Dharwad. Yeah.
So basically, we should focus on ready to eat or ready to cook, because there are again categories in that.
Sir, initially, for example, the Maggi noodles was ready to cook.
Ready to cook only, but now
right?
the people are preferring ready to cook, but there are many challenges in that also, sir.
Yes, sir. Ready to cook the Maggi was initially ready to cook. Now Maggi has intersected the market with ready to eat products. Just add hot water and you can eat. No need of any fire or vessels or kitchen. So unless and until you do a market research properly and understand what customers want, you will not be able to decide on whether I have to go with X product or X plus 1 product or Y product.
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sir. Thank you for your very good presentation. I have a question. I just heard in your introduction that you've also incubated some agritech ideas or mentored startups. If you
Yeah.
could share your experience about those dimensions of your experience, A, and I would also like to know, are the agritech startups really thinking in terms of, circular economies aspect of their ideas?
Yes.
With whatever experience you have, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes. So I, as a chief operating officer, was able to induct 100 plus startups in my incubation center, along with the 3 incubations which I was taking care of. They definitely are thinking in that model because waste to wealth was basically more of the startups which came into that domain, especially for the agriculture inputs. Circular economy, yes, I do agree. When it comes to startups which are into mechanical kind of ideas, they don't concentrate much on circular economy. But when it comes to agriculture inputs, when it comes to agriculture food products, when it comes to agriculture services, they definitely think of the circular economy. And most of the startups, like for example, they initiated their startup in the year 2018-19. They have crossed the valuation of around 15-20 crores by 24, which is a very slow growth, but they are looking for the maximum timeline to be a unicorn. So definitely every agri startup which comes in, apart from the mechanical oriented, which are agriculture equipments, rest all think on circular economy model.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more interactions? I think when it is a faculty development program, we have faculties who are more interactive. We normally tell students to interact. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, because unless and until you want to understand about startup ecosystem, like everybody now is a faculty. So mandate of the government of India is that you need to have the incubator or a special purpose vehicle, SPV, where you have a section 8 company or a trust or a society and start a small incubation center in your organization. And you have a e-cell or maybe entrepreneurship clubs and try to motivate a lot of students to get into this system. So I had one message here. kindly update us on the available government scheme to start agri startup and the source of funding in the region of North Karnataka. Thank you. Okay. Sir, the schemes available in the government are announced once in 5 years. So in Karnataka, there are 2 agri incubators which are available. One is in University of Agriculture Science, Dharwad, in the name of Krishik, KRISHIK, Krishik Agri Business Incubator. And one more is at Navik, Nivedi, Bangalore. Nivedi is the veterinary institute, ICR standalone institute, which has Navik Incubation Center at Bangalore. So you can always apply with them, okay, your ideas with them through your students or through startups and get the funding from them. So that is one part. The other schemes is there are no specific scheme related to agriculture as on today in Karnataka, but there are biotechnology, Bio Innovation Center. There is also a technology business incubator by Government of Karnataka and Government of India. There is also METI. There is METI from the Department of Science and Technology. We also have technology business incubator by MSME. We also have IPFC, Intellectual Property Facilitation Center by MSME. So these are all the schemes which you need to search for, and that is applicable only when you have a special purpose vehicle, as I told you, a Section 8, a society, or a trust, right? So most of the institutes are registered as a society because they run under the society. So you become eligible for that, for which you need to show some space requirement, manpower requirement, and other things, where the institute should also contribute certain percentage of the total fund value. Okay, so these are the basic insights what I could share with you. And I had how we can utilize Idea Lab for MBA students in startup and funding, as our institute has it. So you have an Idea Lab. So when you have, sir, you mentioned 35% at break-even level of how it can. Okay, I'll answer Pramodji. Idea Lab for MBA students, yeah, definitely you can utilize it. As we also have, presently I'm at the Tech University. We have Star Labs. What we normally do is we form a team which is interdisciplinary, where maybe 5 to 6 department students come together and they solve a real-time problem. For MBA students, we specially keep them for a specific acumen of business model canvas or business detailing. So they help the engineering students through those labs, what you're speaking about, to come up with a business plan model, which helps these engineering students to kind of take their idea to a reality or prototype. So that is one thing. And Pramodji has one more question that, sir, you mentioned 35% at break-even level of CII, how it can measure. Okay, CII does a survey every year. They do a survey, and according to the survey, startup report. For example, any kind of funding which is being given by any ministry, whether it is state or central, there is a MIS portal available with everybody. So there in MIS we need to update. It is as per the Information Act. So using that information, CII does a research, also does a physical research with some startups which are about to be an unicorn, and publish these results. So that is what is a break-even level, what the measurement done by the CII.
So in continuation, I have a question to ask.
Yes, madam.
Is there a ready database on agritech companies, or agri incubators, which provides pan-India information about these companies? This is part number 1. And or there is database about which are the venture funds which are majorly funding these agripreneurs. Then if, as you said just now, CII has given this kind of and one of the reports of the CII, they mentioned that 35% are at break even level, etc., etc. So does CII has this kind of data available with them, if you have information about it right away?
Okay, so to answer your first question, madam, yes, for agriculture, you could probably visit RKVY website, where there are 29 incubation centers which are working with the Ministry of India, Government of India, Ministry of Agriculture, where there are 29 centers which have incubators, out of which 5 centers are knowledge partners. So if you approach these 5 knowledge partners, I don't know, because of the confidentiality, they might not share the database with you, but the kind of startups which you are looking as to collaborate or maybe to venture out or something like that, they might get you connected. That is one thing. The database of CII is basically on the data what the ministries share with them for a research, right? So that is where the CIA can produce the report. And when it comes to venture capitalist part, it is individual incubator with its capacity gets connected to the venture capitalists. There is no such database that this venture, or I mean there is no such list available of regarding venture capitalists, because now it is a competition era, because there are a lot of incubators, more than 1,15,000 incubators across India, right? So it creates a sense of competition, and they normally don't share it. It has to be done online, get connected to them, and you venture is that part. But confidentiality of, there is an agreement between the startup and the incubator. So the incubators might share details, but to have details of the incubatees or startups which are incubated in that particular incubator, you need to have a proper memorandum signed to them.
Sorry, I just missed your first part. You mentioned 29 incubators.
Yeah, there are 29 agri incubators across India funded by Ministry of Agriculture under Government of India, RKVY. So
RTVY.
yeah,
Okay.
Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana.
Okay.
Okay, you go to that website, you will get the list of incubators which are being funded by Government of India, and they are specific agri incubators which are for agriculture and allied sector.
Okay. So that means what I gauge from your brief talk about this, or your brief discussion about this, is that CII report may be based on a sample study also, in
No,
terms
no,
of
no, no, no,
diversity.
not sample study. They'll only get the data that these
Okay.
many startups have been incubated. This
Okay.
is what the revenue is. These are the early stage startups. These are the startups which have crossed the break even. These are the startups which are making revenue. These are the startups which are under loss because they didn't proceed after the funding as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All
because
right.
there are student startups also which are funded by ministry. So there the idea is converted into a prototype. That is the initial stage, and then they fund the next level of funding, which prototype is to be converted into a minimum viable product, and next stage is that minimum viable product to be commercialized globally or nationally or locally. Okay.
For the insight, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a question here. Can we connect our students to these incubators? Definitely, you can connect your students to the incubator, provided I insist you, because recently when I was with the Ministry of Agriculture incubator, they introduced a scheme especially for students. The funding of amount of rupees 4 lakh rupees for innovative ideas in agriculture and allied sector. So you can propose an idea where you take a fund also and get them incubated there as well. Okay, there is one more question. Hello, sir. Can you throw some light on the important things that should be included in the proposal submitted for government grant in Agritech company so that the proposal can get selected? Okay, in the proposals, whatever you submit for the recommendation from the Ministry of Agriculture in these incubators, they should clearly include three things. One is the societal impact. Second one is scope for taking it to the next level, and the third thing is what is the profit you are going to make after 10 years, 15 years, or 5 years. So that you should be very clear on that. So what is what is the potential or areas of research in Agritech? Sir, are you aware of any incubator in North Karnataka region? Yeah. The potential areas of research in Agritech now is precision farming, as I already told you, because there is a lot of need because of the soil health, which has been degraded by using a lot of fertilizers, has to be revamped, and organic or natural farming has to come into existence, for which precision farming, agriculture, and agri inputs are the two key focus areas. And incubator in North Karnataka, Krishik Agribusiness Incubator by University of Agriculture Science, Dharwad. That is one. Thanks for such a session. Can we design a course on your topic for our MBA? Definitely, there is a course available as well. Entrepreneurship and innovation in Agritech from I think some university where I visited, I saw a course syllabus on Agritech that can be designed wherein, I mean, some of the students have also done internship when I was there. So they have done the output of startup after government funding, the contribution of government towards the success of startups, all these kind of topics. So they are the things which have been done. There is any government scheme for CII? Sir, I am totally unaware government scheme of CII, but if I come across anything, I would definitely share with the management team of IMER. Okay, Akshay Maurya already has sent list of 29 press release. Thank you, Akshay. Sir, looking at the water scarcity, how Agritech can improve the situation? The hydroponic, aerophonic is a new invention in agriculture after hydroponic. So where they utilize the atmosphere, the wind, the humidity in the natural environment, and they are growing without any use of water, soil, or degrading the soil health. So that is one more area which is basically looking really great, aerophonic, and that yeah. Can you tell us about the current scenario of soybean processing in India? Sir, I'm sorry, I will not be in a position to tell you about that because I'm not an agri graduate, but I deal only with the business acumen of the startups. So soybean processing, I'm really not sure, but I have come across one product where they are converting a soya milk into a soya milkshake with natural flavors. That is one thing what new startup I have come across when you asked about soybean. Are there any government initiatives to reduce use of chemicals in agriculture and promote organic farming? The schemes are very much there, madam. The subsidies given to the organic farming or natural farming practices, and the only thing is for any farmland to get converted into organic farmland, it requires minimum of 3 years where you need to use only organic inputs and convert it and get it certified, and that certificate has to be renewed every year. The farmer who is progressive will do it, but the small and medium farmers will not concentrate much on certifications because they are much interested in making money, growing things, selling it, and making money. That's all. Sir, is aerophonic sustainable and scalable? Definitely it is sustainable and scalable. For example, in Gadag, they are growing kesar, and he is making almost around 3 to 4 lakh rupees per month business. That has just started, right? So now that kind of aerophonic sustainable practices has to be initiated under a controlled environment. Jute, cotton, are they not agri-tech anywhere? Only discussion about food as agri-tech is discussed. Okay, yeah, cotton. Yes, I do agree. Cotton is also comes under agri, where we invented a cotton which grows brown in color in the plant itself. That is a colored cotton, natural colored cotton, which was also commercialized, and now also you can check. I think website. Yali Textile. Why? I'll just yali.com. So these are the one who have taken that cotton technology from the university and commercialized it, and they are selling it at a very huge amount. So that is a cotton which grows brown in color. How can Agritech solutions balance simplicity and functionality to meet the needs of less? Yeah, for this less literate students, I would like to quote an example of one of the startup which has come up with a inverter. You can call it as a stabilizer for agriculture sump, which means borewell, right? So what he has invented is automatic machine which sends an SMS. You need to just reply to that SMS during fluctuation time. There is a lot of problems being caused for the sums because of fluctuation. They get spoiled, and every time the farmer has to spend 5 to 6,000 in repair. So he has come up with a stabilizer which is embedded with a microchip and a SIM card attached to it. So farmer doesn't need to be literate to operate this. The moment he gets a message and it is in all language, he gets it in Kannada, he need to just reply back saying yes or no. right? The bore motor will get switched off the way he gives the input. So agriculture solution for less literate people are also coping up. And for your kind information, when we did a survey, especially for Karnataka region, so 70% of the farmers now use Android mobiles. And out of those 70%, 13 to 14% progressive farmers have Apple phones. So now the farmer might be illiterate, but the language in the mobile phone can also give them an insight of whether to read, write in their regional language. So, any other queries?
So I think
I have another query. Integrating. There's some disturbance here, sir. Integrating nanotechnology, into organic farming system, to me appears to be a subject of ongoing debate and research, and of course, it has been, subjected to a lot of regulations. So I want to know that, even if we use engineered nanoparticles, even from natural base materials, it does present multiple challenges. What is your view on that?
Yes, madam. So when it comes to agriculture inputs, especially nano fertilizers, nanotechnology, we also had a lot of problems, especially in licensing, certification, and the drug department, because there are a lot of clearances which has to happen for nanoparticles, nanotechnology before it is being put into practice. So according to that, when you say that nanotechnology is a kind of a debate in today's environment, it has a lot of scope. I do agree with this, but there are a lot of hindrances which come into in the picture, where the licenses and other things have to be taken care of. So that we'll have to take care of. That is a hard thing for any kind of a startup which has developed something in nanotechnology. But that is the hard part which has to be taken care of, because that is the mandate which is required to carry forward the startup idea into a business entity.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, participants, any other questions, you can please unmute yourself and you can ask. So meanwhile, there was one question that was there in the chat box. Mr. Pramod says, so you mentioned 35% as break-even level for CII. How can it be measured, or if you can just throw some light on that?
No, that's what I talked about, sir. 35% the break-even startups, what the CII report is based on the inputs given by the various ministries for that particular research problem. So that is being published by the CIA after getting the data from the incubators, from the ministry through MIS, where there are a lot of LS question asked. During the questions, the information is segregated and being presented. There is no hard data on exact 35, but that is on the model where they take the incubators existing in the in the specific area of maybe a various states or the entire India, and then jotting those particular data which has been given by the ministry are taken.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, I had one question.
Yes, madam.
I had visited Dharwad Agricultural University. There, I got to know that every student is given small piece of land to experiment on growing something new or innovative. So there are also students who mix 2 or 3 fruits and try to come up with an innovative fruit or something like that. Do you
Yes.
think such ideas is also government funds, and how those students apply for funding, or is that a good practice to mix certain things and come up with some hybrid product?
Yeah, madam. That comes under the hybrid seeds itself. The government also provides some subsidy for hybrid seeds, because farmer also wants to get the revenue as early as possible. But when he uses natural seeds, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. Hybrid seeds are the one which they normally get as early as possible. So that is when we'll have to think. But the innovations what they come up with, definitely government funds these also. So there is also a question from your end that any challenges and risks faced by private sector firms for investing in agriculture sector? No, madam. Now, if you see, most of the people we come across who are the investors are interested in agriculture products because agriculture is the next economy. Agriculture and biotechnology, these two things are the next economy of India because IT is entering into saturation. So now you can see IT, IoT, and ITES in agriculture. So many ITs have shifted to agriculture domain. What lessons can we learn from countries like Israel in Agritech? How can we learn from countries like Israel in Agritech? So, sir, there is nothing. When we also visited Israel once, the only thing is they are a bit ahead. The hydrophonic, aerophonic, and other phonics what we have implemented in India now has been implemented much in advance there because of the various soil conditions, and Indian soil condition is the most acceptable for all kinds of produce to be grown, wherein in Israel there has to be the vertical farming or other kind of farming which they have adopted. I know they are very upper hand when it comes to agriculture, but we can only kind of take their innovative ideas and implement it here to grow something better.
There are a lot of students who come to do MBA whose fathers or ancestors are into agriculture. And when we ask them after MBA, are you going to join the same? They say, no, we want to do a job in some private sector. We want to get into IT sector. Do you have anything that you can suggest? How can we motivate these students to go back to their roots, support their family and parents with the education that they've got, including AI technologies and all, and improve their own agricultural farm?
For which you need to arrange a lot of sessions from the people who have left IT and come back to their roots for doing agriculture. So there are a lot of success stories where people from US, UK have come back. I have personally visited recently in Maharashtra. There is a guy who grows capsicum without any greenhouse or something like that, but he has invented his own technology of drip irrigation, and he earns around 5 lakh rupees every month. He has grown. He's a big farmer, but he came back from UK. He started his own venture, and now they are minting money. So it is only the motivation what has to be created from their own community rather than we telling them, because we should follow what we preach rather than simply preaching.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you said that you came across soya milk processing.
Yeah.
So, as a budding entrepreneur, how can an entrepreneur can market his soya milk product?
White labeling, sir. Straight away. If you want to do something in soya, you create a product, patent the process, white label it, and earn money. It's as straight as simple, sir. It is very simple because there are a lot of people, lot of competitors in soya market. So there is an innovation, as I told you, that flavored soya milkshake, and it is white labeled. I don't want to name the company which has white labeled it, but the products are already available in the market, and it is white labeled by 3-4 companies which are producing, and they are making good amount of money without breaking out their head in marketing and getting the market access.
Sir, any government supported schemes for this kind of entrepreneurship?
Sir, there, sir. If you go for agriculture infrastructure fund, they will support you. If you go for PM-EGP or PM-FME loans, they'll give you subsidized loan. When you want to have manufacturing unit, government definitely supports you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. So there is a question: how important is collaboration with farmers for agri? It is at most important, sir. The basic thing is, unless and until a startup understands what farmer require, you cannot give a solution. So what we normally used to do is for student ideas, we used to put them on. Connect them to 4 to 5 farmers in the same region, where they go meet them, understand the problem, try to solve the problem, fix the solution, and come back and say, sir, this is what it is, and I had thought. There were so many ideas which drastically changed from A point to C point, leaving B, because they were just addressing it on papers. That won't happen. Connect with farmers, collaborate with farmers, and you have to perform the job. Unless and until there is an involvement, I insist that if you form a company, involve one farmer with you. He might be a small farmer or medium farmer. Give him some stakes, make him the director, because he will be your brand ambassador. Can Agritech help in tracking climate change and sustainable farming? Yeah, sir. This already Agritech is doing that, because using IT IoT, they predict, and due to climatic change, what are the products to be put? I mean, the what seeds to be sown in the land is also being identified, predicted, and is helping to understand the climatic change, and accordingly to produce the produce from the farmland, and that also leads to a sustainable farming. Because of unpredictable climatic conditions, there is a huge loss which is happening to the farmers, and the startups in this ecosystem, especially in AI, IoT, and artificial intelligence, are helping farmers to understand what is the future and take the input out of it. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? So just one question from my side. I think you have been beautifully been able to articulate all the questions and addressing to everyone's, all the participants' queries. Wonderful, sir. Just one question, sir. How can these agri-tech startups scale their businesses globally, if at all they would want to, I mean, on a global scale, how can they flourish, or how can they?
Yes, sir. So I mean, globally, one example which I had was a soil testing machine, which was portable in nature. I think it was Agri-Tantra or Agri-Yantra. I don't remember the company name, but they happened to collaborate with a company in Israel and manufactured embedded chip which reduced the size of the product, and that was patented. So their presence is in Israel. So the thing is, anything can go anywhere. The hydroponics, aeroponics were imported from other countries, but now that soil testing, weather implications, hard drives are going from India to other countries due to one particular scheme by government, Make in India, right? So that was one example which I have come across personally. And initially they were producing at a lab level, because as they were new startups. So at a lab level, they were producing around 15 to 20 machines. After the R&D, they started producing around 50 to 60 machines. And then now they are producing in collaboration with the company in Israel. I think it is Ray Technology. They are producing around 500 to 600 machines per month. So there is a drastic shift. It is only if you enter into a collaboration. And now the government has also initiated a lot of investment opportunities for Indian companies to go and invest. For example, I earlier this month, last month, there was a Bangalore Tech Summit where I happened to meet a lot of embassy people, where Make in Moscow is an initiation derived from Make in India. So there is a lot of collaboration opportunity available for any company to come and get associated with Indian market. They require a collaboration of Indian company. So now that is happening. So be it any kind of a startup, whether it is tech startup, med tech startup, biotech startup, or agri-tech startup, there is a scope. And for agri, definitely there is a huge scope, sir.
Yes, sir. So definitely. So nice.
And there is one more.
Some more questions here in the chat
How
box.
important is mentorship for success of startup? So do you agree that agri-tech companies scaling up challenge is denser than other kind of regular business in other sectors? How can startup address issue of food security technology? Okay. So I'll answer mentorship. Yes. For any success, you need experience. So that comes from a mentor. Definitely, success of a startup totally depends on mentorship. But there you need to be aware of one thing before you onboard anybody as a mentor to your startup, that he or she, whomever you onboard, should not be only commercial mentor. They should also be professional mentor, which they not only think about making money, but also think of the success of startup as well. And Pratibha madam has said that agri-tech companies scaling up challenge is denser than other kind of regular business in other sectors. Madam, to answer this question, it is very common in nature, because to manufacture a plastic bottle you need machinery, but for food or grain or anything to grow from a land, it takes time. So similar is the case with the startup as well.
Sir, I had a question from dairy sector, actually, dairy products. There are new companies coming up, startups coming up now, like Akshay Kalpa in Bengaluru. Then we have Country Delight ads coming every now and then. Do you think they'll be able to sustain in front of giant like Nandini products? They will be surviving in Karnataka?
Ma'am, I think the resource person has just got engaged with some other call. Let us keep your question on hold. Once the resource person is back, we can re-ask the same question.
ಚೆಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಂಗದ ಹಂಗ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಯಾವ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಯದ ಮೂರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಯಾರ.
Yeah, participants, there has been some technical problem from the resource person end. He'll just try to reconnect back again, but meanwhile,
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, last question. There was a question by one of the participants. Somebody can just unmute yourself and you can ask the last question for the day. Okay.
Not audible, sir.
Yes, so 1 second. Yeah, participants can just unmute yourself now. I've given the permissions to. Yes.
Vinayak sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, I had a question, like there are in dairy industry, new players have entered in Karnataka, that is Akshay Kalpa in Bangalore and Country Delight all over, it is getting famous. But will they survive in front of giant players like Nandini, which are there from years together in Karnataka and very popularly used by a lot of people?
I totally agree with you, madam. If they are looking for a particular area-specific business, definitely they'll survive. For example, we also have Coma in Kolhapur, Coma, right? So that is a new startup which has started in Kolhapur by providing milk services to the people, where they need to buy out a cow or a buffalo to that startup. they will deliver milk every day to them without any cost. 50% or 30% of the milk is delivered to the home. The only condition is they will have to buy a cow or a buffalo of that breed what the startup wants, right? So that is space specific.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So if it is space specific, the Bangalore startup, Bangalore based startup, I met him recently. So he's using a very good marketing strategy wherein he gave he sponsored buttermilk for the entire people who had come to Bangalore Tech Summit, and the walk-in was almost around 2.5-3 lakh. So as per the cost is concerned, for one tetra pack of buttermilk, he would have spent around 5 rupees, right? So 2 lakh rupees, 2 lakh people consume that buttermilk.
Say you're not audible. Okay. Meanwhile, participants, the feedback form link has been shared into the chat box. I kindly request you to go to the feedback form and submit feedback for this session. We'll just try reconnecting with the resource person. Yeah, participants, the resource person is unable to connect due to some technical issue, but I think sir has covered everything and has been able to address most of the queries by all the participants through his practical exposure and whatever uh, in his area of expertise. I think sir has shared all his resources with all the participants. So the feedback form has been shared for this session. I kindly request you to complete the feedback process, and we'll start with our next session at exactly at 3:30. So we just break for another 10-12 minutes, so that 3:30 we start with our next resource person, that is Dr. Ramesh Mittal. So until then, kindly stay tuned, and we'll just meet up. We'll be back by 3:30. Thank you so much.